The lone college football game on Monday night brings us an ACC matchup between number 9 Clemson and an intriguing Duke team fresh off a 9-win season in 2022. And entering this game, there's a lot of talk about a potential upset brewing in Durham. But can the Blue Devils actually pull it off? That's the question that we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Our Week 1 picks have already been released. A couple of those Week 1 picks have already happened. Thursday Night Football, baby. But you want to take advantage of those guys. One of the lowest prices in the country, some of the best picks in the country that have beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. So if you want a guaranteed winning record, guaranteed winnings in your pocket this season, and the best customer service that any handicapper in the country can give you, this is the place for you. Sign up for those picks today so you can take advantage of some of the picks we have this Friday night, but also some picks that we have over the course of this next weekend. You do not want to miss out on that. Again, over on thegridironexpert.com. Check out the Patreon account as well for exclusive college football content year-round, and send us some gear. We'd love to get some Duke gear. We'd love to get some Clemson gear. We'd love to expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. We have that mailing address down in the description so we can represent your team in every single Gridiron Expert video. So let's take a look at this game, right? I mean, we were talking about this months ago, like that there's maybe a possibility that Duke could upset Clemson and completely shake up the college football world. It would completely shake up the ACC. It would shape up the playoff the race. I mean, it would screw up everything if Duke could find a way to pull off this win. And you can't rule it out, right? Duke's a solid team, fresh off a 9-win season in their first year under Mike Elko, surprised everybody, and they are loaded with talent once again. Same, of course, can be said for Clemson, the reigning ACC champions, who went 11-3 last year, but people are down on the Tigers because they've missed the college football playoff each of the last 2 years. Won 10 games 2 years ago, won 11 games and won the conference last year, and yet people are still sleeping, if you want to call it that, on the Tigers. We take a look at the offense, right? We'll lean into this game. We'll start with Clemson, the road team. 7 starters are back on the offense, and they should have improved quarterback play this year now that Cade Klubnik has full reign of the offense. Last year, it was that struggle. DJ Uyunglele, Cade Klubnik, and Uyunglele got the start for the majority of the year, although Klubnik came in clutch a handful of times, such as that comeback win over Syracuse, the ACC championship game against North Carolina, and even started the game against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, but was unable to come through. Threw for over 300 yards, 2 interceptions though, no touchdowns. But he obviously has a major upside. A lot of talent surrounding Klubnik. He's a great guy, has a little bit of dual threat capability as well. Some are saying he could be even better than some of the previous quarterbacks that we've seen come through Clemson over these last few years. Beauty of this, too, is they've got a great offensive coordinator now. Clemson, was something they kind of struggled with the last couple of years. They've got a great offensive coordinator in Garrett Riley coming in from TCU, where he worked wonders with Max Duggan, leading TCU all the way to the national championship game. So you've got a great quarterback. You've got a great new offensive coordinator. You've got an offense that was averaging over 33 points per game, over 400 yards per game. Paired with all of that, you return a 1,000-yard rusher in Will Shipley, actually rushed over 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns last year. And their leading wide receiver, Antonio Williams, returns after over 600 reception yards and 4 touchdowns. Offensive line has a chance to be even better than they were last year after giving up just 17 sacks. Clemson, from top to bottom, guys, should be better offensively than they were last year. And the scary thing is they weren't even bad offensively last year. So watch out for the Tigers. Duke, on the other hand, they're dangerous too. Everybody's back. Everybody's back for Duke on offense this year. 10 starters back after averaging 32.8 points per game last year, over 415 yards per game, including over 184 on the ground. Very balanced attack for Mike Elko in his first year with the Blue Devils. And they have one of the more underrated quarterbacks, not just in the ACC, but I would say in the country, in Riley Leonard, who threw for over 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, and was also the leading rusher for Duke with 699 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. So 33 total touchdowns for Riley Leonard last year, over 3,500 yards of total offense for Riley Leonard, and I don't feel like we're talking about him nearly enough. This guy is the real deal, and he is good. On top of Leonard returning, their top 3 running backs return, each of them rushing for at least 480 yards last year. All of their top wide receivers and pass catchers returned, including Jalen Calhoun and Jordan Moore. And like Clemson, they have a very strong offensive line. Walnut only allowed 17 sacks last year and has an opportunity to be just as good, if not better. Duke offensively is the real deal. And I actually genuinely believe that they could match Clemson step for step offensively. The problem is Duke's going to have to find a way to generate big plays. They're going to have to generate enough points against this Clemson defense that will be one of the best in the entire country. For years and years and years, Clemson's defense has always been a strength, and a lot of credit for that goes to Brent Venables, of course, now the head coach at Oklahoma. But last year, first year without Venables, and Clemson was still pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. 8 starters are back. They only gave up 20.9 points per game, only 334 yards per game, and just 103 rushing yards per game. 8 starters are back now with arguably the best defensive line in the country, and Xavier Thomas and Tyler Davis leading the way up front. Barrett Carter and Jeremiah Trotter to lead the way at linebacker. And then in your secondary, you've got a guy like Jalen Phillips and Nate Wiggins. 5 of their top 7 tacklers return. Clemson defensively is, again, one of the best in the country, and I would put them as the best defense in the ACC heading into 2023. So loaded on that side of the ball, it's going to be hard for anybody to score against the Tigers. No matter how good you are, who you are, how many starters you have coming back, it's going to be tough. And that's the challenge that Duke has right now, is finding a way to exploit this Clemson defense, where really right now the Tigers don't seem to have a weakness. Duke, on the other hand, not bad defensively at all. Mike Elko, he's a defensive-minded coach, and last year we saw a drastic improvement. Duke's defense horrendous in 2021, very solid in 2022, giving up just 22.1 points per game, only 378 yards per game. But the weakness, if you're looking for one, was in the secondary, where the Blue Devils gave up 257 passing yards per game. Secondary certainly needs some work. And it's a bit of a concern when you realize you've got a very good quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who we have seen play extremely well, and offensive coordinator in Garrett Riley, who's going to want to go out there and sling the ball, and they're going to want to go fast, no doubt about it. The Blue Devils do lose their top 2 tacklers, but do return 7 of the top 10 from last year, so a lot of guys coming back. Up front, the defensive line, like Clemson, going to be very strong, led by a guy in Dwayne Carter, who had 5.5 sacks in 2022. Duke's not going to just go in there and get bullied up front. They're not going to get run over by Clemson offensively. But if you're looking for who has that defensive edge and who's going to make the bigger plays defensively and slow down the opposing team's offense, it's without a doubt the Clemson Tigers. They own the clear-cut defensive edge. Some would say they own the offensive edge as well, but if you want to go that route, it's not as significant as the defensive gap. Duke's offense, like we mentioned, can match Clemson. Duke's defense cannot match Clemson's. So what's going to happen, guys? Monday night is the only college football game, the conclusion to what should be a great week 1. I know a week 1 that is already underway, got underway last night on Thursday. We've got all day Friday, all day Saturday, Sunday as well, and now Monday to wrap up week 1. Are we going to see a massive upset? Are we going to see Clemson go down, a top 10 team go down, and completely shake up everything in the college football world? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. As crazy as that would be, and I'm sure as many people would love to see that, it's not going to happen. Clemson, guys, is still loaded. I don't want to go this route, but I feel like Clemson's getting disrespected. I feel like because they have failed to make the playoff the last 2 years, people have written them off. And the ACC is good this year, right? I mean, Florida State's good. North Carolina's good. Duke's good. Miami could be a threat. Pittsburgh's good. So the ACC definitely more competitive than it's been in years past. But Clemson, to me, is still the top dog, and they deserve more respect and don't deserve to be hated on as much as I feel like they have been. You look at this game, guys. Duke was phenomenal last year. 9-4 in 2022. Should be noted that they only played 2 games last year. Or beat 2 teams. Beat 2 teams with a winning record last year. Wake Forest in the season finale, UCF in their bowl game. A Knights team that genuinely didn't really want to be there. So Duke had a really good, favorable schedule last year. Worked out in their favor. Still a really good team, but Clemson's going to be one of the toughest teams they faced in the last 2 years. I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Tigers despite having home field advantage, despite having a lot of hype surrounding them entering this season. I believe the Duke offense struggles to move. Clemson's defense flexes their muscles. Cade Klubnik has a fantastic debut as the full-time starter for Clemson. I believe the Tigers win this game by at least 10 points. And now the quest begins. The quest to the college football playoff begins for Clemson. But it will start with a 1-0 start in Durham. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Clemson over Duke to conclude week 1. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure you go sign up for those today. Our Patreon account and our mailing address as well to send us some gear so we can represent your team in every single Gridiron Expert video. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.